A very warm welcome to all for this PowerPoint presentation about the compressed air. Myself, Dr. P. Aglamudan, Professor of Chemical Engineering Department from Erode Sengundar Engineering College, Perundurai. So, in this, we are going to see about the humidification operations. So, in this operation, water is transferred from the liquid phase to the gas phase. So, the moisture content of air is increases. Air with a particular moisture content is useful for drying of a solid under controlled conditions. That means air should contain particular amount of moisture that is used to dry the solid material under the controlled condition. So the next one is the humidification operation. So it is the reverse phenomena of humidification. A portion of water vapor from moist warm air is condensed by contacting cold water in air conditioning. So that is, it is opposite to the humidification operation. So water vapor from moist warm air is condensed by contacting cold water in air conditioning. Next one is the humidity. It is the mass of vapor carried by a unit mass of vapor free gas. It is denoted by HRY. So that is mass of vapor carried by a unit mass of vapor free gas. That is, the gas should not have any vapor. Next one is the humid heat. Humid heat is the heat required to raise the temperature of unit mass of gas and its accompanying vapor 1 degree at constant pressure. Okay, this humid heat is nothing but that it is happening in the constant pressure. So we need to rise the temperature by 1 degree along with the accompanying vapor. Next one is the percentage humidity. It is the ratio of actual humidity to the saturation humidity. So next one is the bound water. If the equilibrium moisture content of a given material is continued to its intersection with 100% humidity line, the moisture is called bound water. Okay. Next one is the unbound water. If a material contains more water than indicated by the intersection with 100% humidity time, it exerts only a vapor pressure as high as ordinary water at same temperature. Next one is the humid volume. Humid volume is defined as the volume occupied by unit mass of dry gas and its associated vapor. Next one is the relative humidity. The ratio of vapor pressure of moisture in the sample to the saturation pressure at the dry bulb temperature of the sample. Next one is the dew point temperature, the saturation temperature of the moisture present in the sample. All these are in the designing and installation, designing of the refrigeration and air conditioning system, and also based on the moisture content available in the air in our residential area, the air conditions are, that is the tonnage of air conditions are recommended to us. Next one is the specific humidity. Specific humidity is the proportion of the mass of water vapor per unit mass of the moist air sample. That is dry air plus water vapor. That is the specific humidity. It is closely related to humidity ratio and always lower in value. Next one is the absolute humidity. The mass of water vapor per unit volume of air containing the water vapor. This quantity is also known as the water vapor density. Cooling tower principle and operation. So a cooling tower is a special type of heat exchanger in which the warm water and air are brought in direct contact for evaporative cooling. That is, the main purpose is to reduce the temperature of the water. It provides a very good contact of air and warm and hot water in terms of the contact area and mass transfer coefficient of water vapor while keeping air pressure drop low. So enthalpy of air is lower than enthalpy of water. Sensible heat and latent heat transfer takes place from water drop to surrounding air. So in the next diagram we will see about the schematic of heat transfer from water vapor to surrounding air. So this is the diagram of heat transfer from the water droplet to the surrounding. From the heat transfer takes place from the water drop to the atmospheric air, that is the surrounding air. So in this figure, this is the generalized cooling tower system. In this figure, the water is sprayed by using a pump from the heat exchanger into the cooling tower by using some nozzles. So air is entered the side walls. So when it is moving to the upward direction, the water comes to the downward direction. So during this period, the water loses its heat and the temperature of the water comes down while it is stored at the bottom. So during this evaporative cooling, 2% of the water is evaporated. So in order to fulfill that, makeup water is added. So factors govern the operation of cooling tower. So the dry bulb on temperature and wet bulb temperature of air, temperature of the warm water, the efficiency of contact between air and water in terms of volumetric mass transfer coefficient, contact time between air and water, the uniformity of the distribution of the phases within the tower, air pressure drop, desired temperature of cooled water. So the cooling towers are classified based on the air draft and based on the airflow pattern. Again, based on the air draft, it is classified into atmospheric, natural draft and mechanical draft. Again, this mechanical draft is classified into induced draft and forced draft. In the right hand side, we can see the airflow pattern based on the airflow pattern. It is cross flow and counter flow. A cross flow means both air and water are moving in the same direction. Counter flow means water is moving from top to bottom and air is moving from bottom to top. Next one is the atmospheric towers. It's a big rectangular chamber with two opposite lowered walls. Tower is packed with suitable tower fill. Atmospheric air enters the tower through lowers driven by its own velocity. Direction and velocity of wind greatly influences its performance. That is, if the velocity of the air is more means the heat transfer will be higher, the water will lose its temperature very quickly and the hot air will coming out from the top. So if the air velocity is low means the heat transfer time will be more and the efficiency will comes down. Natural draft towers. A natural draft cooling tower has a large reinforced concrete shell of hyperbolic shape. Natural flow of air occurs through the tower, hence it is called natural draft. That is, we are not using any induced air flow in these towers. So factors responsible for creating natural draft: a rise in temperature and humidity of air in the column reduces its density, wind velocity at the tower bottom. Fan is used to enhance the airflow rate in fan assisted natural draft tower. The typical diameter of the tower is 150 meter and the capacity is 5 lakh gallons per minute. In this case, if the velocity of the air is very low means, then we can use some fans in order to induce the air circulation rate. Mechanical draft towers, that is forced draft towers and induced draft towers. In this case, the fans are used to move air through the tower in mechanical draft cooling towers. There are two types, one is forced and induced draft tower. Forced draft towers, it has one or more fans located at the bottom to push the air into the tower. So advantage is a part of velocity head of air thrown by the blower is converted to pressure head on entering into the tower. It makes energy efficient than induced draft. Less susceptible to vibrations as fans are installed near the ground. So actually by using the fan with a high velocity and high capacity, so it creates vibrations, but it is placed on the ground, the vibrations are transferred and it feels very low. Disadvantages: airflow through the packing may not be uniform. Some of the warm and humid air may be recirculated back. Recirculation rate becomes low if the wind velocity is high. It is not popular except for small capacities, that is, it cannot be used for the. So this is the one of the diagram for the floor forced draft tower. You can witness the at the bottom a fan is used to suck the air from the atmosphere and it blows into the packing. Above the packing, hot water is sprayed in a very fine particles. When it is moving through the packing, it takes more time to travel from the top to bottom. So during this period, the air is moving from bottom to top. So when it is meeting each other, it transfers the heat to that is the water transfers the heat to the air, and it is passed through the drift eliminator where the water is separated from the water droplets are separated from the air, and only the hot warm water is passed to the atmosphere. At the bottom, the cold water is collected. So the packing material is used to increase the heat transfer rate from the water to the air. So next one is the induced draft towers. One or more fans are installed at the bottom of the tower depending on the air inlet and flow pattern. Induced draft towers are two types. One is cross flow and another one is the counter flow. So counter flow is nothing but, as I already said, in opposite directions air and water are passed. If it is cross flow means air and water are meeting at the same direction. Major advantages of counterflow induced draft cooling tower. So relatively dry air contacts the coldest water at the bottom of the cooling tower. Humid air is in contact with the warm water and hence maximum average driving force prevails for both heat and mass transfer. Disadvantage of induced draft cool towers compared to forced draft towers. It consumes more horsepower. Cross flow induced draft cooling tower requires less motor horsepower than the counter current induced draft cooling tower. Cross current and counter current. Cross flow induced draft cooling tower supplies horizontal airflow along the packed height and requires less motor horsepower than the counter flow type. Additional cells may be added to raise the capacity, that is the cells means the number of it indicates the packings. So this is the mechanical draft counterflow tower. In this case, air is passed from the bottom, and water is, that is hot water, is sprayed from the top. So this one is the cross flow tower. In this case, both hot water and air are uh, moving in the same direction. And thank you for your patient listening.